Hello everyone. This video here will be about pretty much methods, the different methods I use for learning foreign language. I know you guys asked me before in the forums, how do I go about learning foreign languages? I try to explain different methods I go about, but sometimes I find it hard explaining things. I'm not really good at explaining like methods, but I try my best. You know, I know, I've been commended for my accomplishments, but I worked hard. I'm still working hard. I also believe that giving back and helping others is also important. Because I feel good when other people, I feel good when I can help other people. They'll learn from, they learn from me. They benefit from my videos, whatever. That makes me feel even better than being commended. So yeah, that's important. So those of you who will get better, get really good at learning language, will accomplish, you know, will be accomplishing things. When learn language, you should, consider that. Consider helping others, giving back. So it's not always about your accomplishments. It's about what you can do for other people. You lift them up. You make them better. That's what it's about. I believe that was there was a quote Denzel Washington made. He made a quote similar to that. He said, it's not always about your accomplishments. It's about what you can do for others to make them better. That's what it's about, giving back. And but anyway, I digress. Basically, what I do here, first thing I do, okay, of course, we all do, we try to find resources for learning language. I try to find the resources before I start. Before I start, make sure those are the resources I'm going to use for the 3 months, and those resources will be beneficial for me. So I try to find a beginner's course, an intermediate, well, Teach Yourself has kind of a combination. Like they have some beginner stuff, and then they have intermediate. But once you get to the high advanced level, then you will have to find other resources, like maybe newspapers, or watching, reading stories, just the high level stuff. But like in the Teach Yourself, those are pretty much it'll take you, that whole book will give you that higher intermediate level, and that's the level you will want to obtain. Like Professor said, he mentioned before about, what did he say? You can only learn so much. You will learn so much studying on your own without having been in the country, being immersed in the language. I believe that, I believe that could be true. Like if like me, for example, I'll sit here, I'll learn a language for 3 months, because my goal is 3 months. By the end of the 3 months, I'll study a language intensively. By the end of the 3 months, I should be intermediate, high intermediate level. Intermediate, high intermediate, that's my goal. I want to get to intermediate, higher intermediate level in 3 months. That's the goal, and that should be everyone's goal, actually, depending on how much time you have. So you'll get to that intermediate, high intermediate level. Then once you get to that high intermediate level, then you will notice that you have to kind of step it up a little bit more. Maybe you have to go to the country, spend maybe 6 months to a year in the country. 6 months to a year, and that's enough. If you already at the intermediate, high intermediate level, all you need to do is spend at least 6 months to a year in the country, and you should attain a native speaker level. You should. There's really no excuse. If you're in a country, especially if you're in a country for a year or two, if you go over there and study the language, how you were studying within those 3 months in your own country, then you should be native speaker within a year, 6 months to a year. So many people who have studied overseas, for several years and haven't acquired that native speaking level is a wonder to me. I wonder why, because I know that you can learn so much, without going to a different country. So you should be able to attain a native level if you go to the country and study. You know, now if you start off from the beginning, like you just go over to the country, and if you go over to the country not knowing anything about the language, you start from beginners, then of course, it's gonna take you longer, probably. But yeah, it'll probably take you a little longer. But my advice, I will advise you to, before you go over to the country, spend at least 3 to 6 months, depending on how much time you have, how fast you learn. Spend at least 3 to 6 months on preparing, getting ready, getting your level up to an intermediate, high intermediate level. And after you accomplish that, then go overseas. And then it's not going to take you 6 months to a year. Spend at least 6 months, maybe 6 months, and then study hard. You should be able to acquire a native level. I've never been overseas studying. I've been to Taiwan for 3 weeks, but other than that, that was for visiting family. I didn't really get a chance to sit down, and I use the language, I use Chinese, but there's a difference, but yeah, that's the thing. So you will want to find your basic course, basic, intermediate, and 2 dictionaries. So for example, if you're learning, let's say, Georgian, if you're learning Georgian, you want to have an English to Georgian dictionary, Georgian to English dictionary, and then English to Georgian dictionary. It's always good to have 2 dictionaries, not just one way, but both ways. You have to have both ways. So you have your 2 dictionaries, and you will want to find 2 forums, at least on the internet. Find 2 forums to where you can practice your language, your grammar. You can get on there and make a journal, because that's usually what I do. I go to the forums and I make my journal, and then I'll get credited by the native speakers, and that's good. That's really good. You learn from your mistakes, So use forums for making journals. Find at least 2 chat rooms, because chatting with someone by typing, it's like real life. It is real life, but it's not. It's not a face-to-face thing. Like, you're not speaking to them. You could speak to them through a microphone, but it's close to real life. So yeah, that will help you out a lot. I use chat rooms very often, and I would have to say they're very useful, and they're very beneficial for me. So you want to find 2 forums, at least 2 forums, 2 chat rooms. Make sure you have all your adequate resources. You could find some music with subtitles. Listen to music in that foreign language. The podcast, that will work for your listening skills. And what else? I hope I'm explaining this stuff good. I'm not really good at explaining these different methods, but let's see. Yeah, so you have your resources, your forums, your chat rooms, and what else? That's basically it. That's basically what I do. That's what I use for learning a foreign language. And like I said, 3 months. I have a goal. 3 months. 3 months. After the 3 months of intensive study, I should be intermediate, high intermediate level. Intermediate, high intermediate, low advanced level. Ready to move on to the next level. But of course, you will have to have the adequate resources, and you will have to put in the time. And you'll get your results. You'll definitely get your results. I want to make a second part. My time is running out, so it's not going to be that long, because I pretty much explained to you guys what I use for learning the foreign language. But like I said, I hope I'm explaining things very clear for you guys, and if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. But I will be right back with the second part.